Hey everybody, how are you? This is your editor-in-chief, Steve Jones, coming at you from balloonprofessionals.org. And I wanted to take a few minutes to start what I hope is about to be a new installment here on the website. Welcome to our video blog. For those of you that don't know, in addition to being the editor-in-chief of Balloon Professionals magazine, and in addition to being the executive director of Area Deco Video and BalloonDVDs.com, and the executive director of the Flow Convention, I'm also, like most of you, a basic everyday balloon decorator out of Seattle, Washington. I am the co-owner of a company called Balloon Designers, which I also partner with Alexa Rivera, an incredibly talented and gifted balloon artist in her own right, who moved here about 2 years ago. When Alexa moved here, part of the deal was I'm a corporate guy, she's a private event person. So she came on board to officially take the lead of our private event business. And this weekend, we did something that I haven't done in 10 years and swore I would never do again. We did a bridal show, of all things. Now keep in mind, again, being that Alexa is the private event specialist, we have to find ways to spawn that business. We have to find ways to continually find new clients. So with that being said, this is one of those things where it's been about 10 years. You know, should we do it again? Should we give it a try? Should we go do a bridal show and see what's up? And Alexa, we researched a few around and found a few things out, and we decided collectively that we would do this one this past weekend. And there's a reason why I stopped doing bridal shows. I can't tell you how much money I absolutely threw away on bridal show marketing. You know, it was one of those things where you spend $1,100, $1,200, $1,300. You build yourself that you spend in a day or two prepping the booth at the shop. You're building all these pieces. Then you spend an entire day loading in and you're setting up this booth. And then you spend 2 days where you could be making money, but no, instead you're sitting in this booth and you're meeting all these brides and you're eating all this cake and you're doing all this stuff and you're doing all that, blah, blah, blah. And then you go back home and you just wait for the phone to ring. And after a couple of years of doing this and not really even recovering the money I spent on the booths, I'm like, why are we doing this anymore? And other vendors are like, oh, you have to do the bridal shows. You don't understand. You have to do them because if you don't do them, the other vendors, because that's where your real money's made, right? You're really making money off the other vendors. The brides are just supplementary. You really want relationships with the other vendors. And if you stop doing that bridal show, those vendors will think you're out of business and you can't have that. You got to keep going. So that same mentality kept me in the bridal shows for another couple of years. And eventually I'm done. And I turned my back on bridal shows, and I swear to God, I never missed a beat. Didn't care, I was happy. The corporate sales were through the roof, didn't need bridal show. But now with Alexa on board, we decided we're gonna re-envision this. And so, while I was out of town actually, working at a convention, Alexa and her assistant at work, Effie, they spent all this time and they built all this incredibly elaborate stuff, and it was gorgeous as always because Alexa did it. And so we got ready for this bridal show, and we go in and we set up the bridal show, and fortunately, we only spent about an hour or so on site. We didn't really spend a lot of time like before because everything was done. You just drop it off, boom. We come back the next day, all the other vendors are there milling about, blah, blah, blah. We're all happy, but I'm braced. I'm braced for disappointment. I'm like, okay, well, I'm optimistic, but let's see what happens because, it's bridal business, whatever. Then the doors opened. And something happened in my 21 years in business that has never happened before. I watched hundreds of women lose their freaking minds over balloons. I was thrilled. So what happened? What exactly happened? What in the heck happened over the course of 10 years that could have changed my experience from being just complete, utter, dismal failure of an opportunity to people begging to get into our booth? So what could have happened? Well, I've been thinking about it. And there's been 3 primary differences that I can think of that have changed in the course of society and say over the last 10 years. First of all, 10 years ago, there was not organic balloon decor. That's number one. You can say what you will about the organic stuff. You can complain all you want about Geronimo and her installation pieces and how she's overpaid and blah, 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 whatever. Fine, I get it. But you cannot ignore the fact that this installation artist and some DIY blogger over here who made the very first organic arch have absolutely found a way to turn our industry on its ear and to help you make an absolute butt ton of money. Because the reality is, organic decor is in demand. As such, you're not charging the same price for that as you would a garland. And besides, it's a lot more complicated. It's a lot more labor intensive. And with all the mixed media and everything else that they want in there on top of that, we want ferns, we want flowers, we want that. You've got to absolutely charge for all this. So now, instead of selling an arch for, say, 10 bucks a foot, which has been kind of the standard forever, $35, $45 a foot for balloon decorations, all thanks to organic decor. And that wasn't around 10 years ago. Number two, we didn't have millennials 10 years ago. 10 years ago, for those of you that are fairly new to the balloon industry, I'm going to clue you in on something. 10 years ago, people actually gave a damn what Martha Stewart thought. Okay? 10 years ago, if you wanted to get married and you wanted it to be tastefully done, you went out and bought a book by Martha Stewart, or you went out and bought a book by this high-end event planner, or whatever, or David Tutera, or whatever the names were. And you followed that book to the letter. Nowadays, millennials take all those rules and kind of throw them out the window. You know, now the best beer on the market is the cheapest thing out there. Sports that never really had a huge popularity are suddenly growing, and new sports are being created because you're not going to tell us what we have to like. And there you go. So think about it. If you're on the outside, right, like balloon professionals were, like we're kind of like, we were the redheaded stepchild of the event world for so long. Now all of a sudden, hey guys, balloons are trending. And they're trending amongst this market, amongst these people, the millennials. They like it. They don't have the preconceptions that our moms had and we grew up with and all this other stuff. They're like, nope, we're going to think our own way. So you know something, you can say whatever you want about millennials, but ladies and gentlemen, give them a pat on the back, because I'm telling you, they're helping change our world for the better. But speaking of millennials, there's a third thing that's completely different now than there was 10 years ago. And that is social media. I'm not suggesting there wasn't social media 10 years ago, because we all know there was. But let's face it, it was MySpace. For those of you that don't remember, there used to be this thing before Facebook that everybody was on called MySpace. And that's all there was. You didn't have Facebook Live. You didn't have Instagram stories. You didn't have Snapchat filters. And you sure as hell didn't have the impact of Pinterest. There was no such thing as a selfie. Think about that for 1 second. 10 years ago, the idea of putting a camera in your own face and taking your own picture was ludicrous. Oh my God, you're so vain, you're so ridiculous. Now, you watch 80-year-old grandparents. Come on, kids, let's take a selfie. I mean, the reality here is that it's become part of culture. With that being said, everyone is obsessed with showing off to the world how cool their life is. So let's see, you go to this bridal show, right? Sure, there's dresses, sure, there's this, sure, there's that. But oh my God, there's this really cool balloon display with all of these bright colors and all these neat designs and blah, blah, blah. And that's not on everybody else's feed. I gotta take my picture over there. Photo frames and selfie stations, they were doing those 10 years ago in the balloon world too. They were doing them 15 years ago in the balloon world. They were probably doing them 20 years ago in the balloon world. I just didn't know. The difference though was you didn't have accessibility to cameras. You didn't have the same kind of accessibility to multiple photography. Remember, 10 years ago, people were still using photography film, okay? Put that inside your head and think about that for 1 second. Yes, we had cell phones. Not all of them had cameras yet. Think about that too. So with all that being said, a lot of things have changed in this world. And as a result, all of those things coming together gave us an opportunity to really go in and make a huge impact on a group of people that I would have written off years ago. But there's one more thing that I cannot ignore, that I cannot disregard in any way, shape, or form. It's something that is very different now than was then. And that is Alexa Rivera. Don't get me wrong. I know how to sell balloons. I can sell balloons. I can sell all kinds of stuff. And Alexa, for those of you that don't really know her, Alexa Rivera is, first of all, aside from the fact that I think she's one of the most underrated, if not the most underrated balloon artist in this country and possibly the world. She is very modest, very quiet, very kept to herself. She's not the ostentatious type like some other people. As we're preparing for this thing the whole time, we're talking about strategy, we're talking about this and that, yada yada. But I'm like, but you're taking lead on this. You're taking lead. And she, you're taking lead. This is your booth. I built no, seriously, this entire booth, I inflated 12 balloons in the entire booth. And I know exactly where they are. So with that being said, it only made sense for her to be in charge. Plus, let's face it, these are her people. She's the private event specialist. She should take the lead. So here we go. And we're standing there waiting for the show, and it's 5 minutes to go. And we're both just kind of like, and then it's like 3 minutes to go. And we're like, and then it's like 1 minute to go. And we're like, and we're just joking about, we're going to step out here, we're going to stand in the middle and just watch people filter in the booth and yada yada. And then something happened. Those women came around that corner and walked into that booth, into that area. And something took over Alexa Rivera. She was absolutely large and in charge. It was fantastic. It was amazing. She was literally grabbing people by the arm. Hi there, how are you? Would you like to take a picture in our booth? Oh my God. And the next thing you know, she's like, oh yeah, give me your phone. Take your picture. Click, 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 click. Who's getting married? Okay, blah, blah, blah. Wait, take this one here. Take the click, click, click. Oh, fantastic. Now take a card, take a card, take a card. Oh, pricing? Oh my God, yes, blah, blah, blah. Next! At one point, I swear to God, we had 30 or 40 women lined up, waiting to come into our booth to take pictures underneath of Alexa's organic decor. It was amazing. I've never, you know me, right? Imagine me silent for 45 minutes. Just standing back. You could have given me a box of popcorn. I'm amazing. Have you seen this? This is good. It was, oh my God, she was fantastic. I've been doing balloons now for 21 years. Never, ever vow to never do something again. Yeah, there's stupid things we can do. There's dumb things we can, don't ever, okay, I'm never going to go run in front of a train to save 5 minutes or what. Yeah, there's dumb things you could do. But when it comes to marketing, when it comes to ideas, when it comes to experiments, things didn't work. Never say, we're never going to do that again. Because you know something? There's always a time to revisit something. There's always a time to give it another try. You got to understand, I'm the guy who would sit in this booth for 2 days and listen to ridicule. I would sit there and listen to people make fun of the fact that I was doing balloons. And my argument was always the same. It was always, I just need the one. I just need that one person that absolutely wants to connect with me. And over time, it would get harder and harder and harder when you listen to more and more people just put you down and chuckle as they walk by and look back at you and laugh. I mean, literally look back at you and laugh over the idea that, oh God, like I would have balloons at my wedding. It was just enough to break you. So for me to say, no, we're going to try this again. That is, in my opinion, the smartest thing you can do. Don't be afraid to try things. If they don't work, keep track of why you think they don't work. If it repeatedly happens, then back away from it. But don't ever say you're never going to try something again, because you just don't know how things can surprise you. Until next time, this is Steve, and I got stuff to do.